I think you might have to make me a presenter though.
Okay. All right. Okay. I should be able to accept them as here if I see anyone coming in. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome everyone. Tonight's event is CompTIA certifications. It's an Ask Me Anything session. I had a lot of requests from different people, some who can make it, some who can't, who were kind of just looking at doing CompTIA certifications. So tonight's event is 3rd of the 4th, 23, 8 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. The title of the event is CompTIA certifications, and the point of the event is unlocking your potential in technology. So welcome everyone. Nice to have everyone. You're welcome to turn on your cameras if you'd like, and participate both visually and through audio, or else you can leave them off, up to yourself. So the point of this session is to kind of give people an idea of CompTIA certification as a whole, what CompTIA offer, the paths, ways of taking the certification, why take certain ones versus not taking others, that kind of thing. So we're in for a jam-packed session. So to start off, just a bit about myself. So my name is Matthew Brown. I'm a CompTIA subject matter expert, which is an SME for anyone that doesn't know. I just said a check. Is the presentation coming out blurry for anyone?
No, it's perfect.
Is it?
Looks fine.
No.
Okay, perfect. No, just it looked a bit weird on my side here. Okay, that's no problem. So we have, yeah, anyways, so just a bit about myself. I've been an IT professional for the last 10 years, working in infrastructure and cybersecurity. I have all CompTIA certifications. So for anyone that doesn't know, that's 14 certifications ranging from the very basics in IT to practitioner level. So some of the CompTIA certification includes your ITF Plus, A Plus, Network Plus, Security Plus, Linux, CISA, Pen Test, Server, Cloud, Project, Cloud Essentials, CTT Plus, Data Plus, and CASP Plus. So they're the selection of certifications which have been presented by CompTIA to the IT profession. So just a look at the IT certification roadmap. So CompTIA has a certification roadmap which begins at the very start of your journey. So it's beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert level. So the roadmap is broken down into 4 areas. It's information security, network and cloud, IT service management, and data and development. So what that means is, depending on the type of certification you're looking at with CompTIA, you can do a direct comparison between CompTIA certification, Microsoft, IC Squared, AWS, ISACA, and GAIAC. So they're the other certification bodies that CompTIA do comparisons with. So to get started, on the top left, you can see we have all the CompTIA badges. That just demonstrates the 14 certifications that CompTIA offer. On the middle slide here, middle of the slide, we're just looking at the names. We can see the CompTIA certifications are broken up into stackables. CompTIA break down their certification into 2 lots of stackables. It's infrastructure and cybersecurity. So depending on the certification you have will depend on where you sit in the stackable qualifications list. And then on the right hand side, we can just see a sample of a CompTIA transcript. In this case, that's my transcript, just to demonstrate. You can see when you have all of the certification, they're all loaded into your transcript, and you can share that digital transcript with anybody. So to kind of get an understanding of how does one go about taking CompTIA certification, there's two ways. Ultimately, it's going to be through Pearson VUE, which are the leading exam provider for every certification vendor. So what that means is you would go to your Pearson VUE website, you'd look up your certification vendor, and you would search for them, and you would log into that account based on the vendor you're certifying with. So in our case, we'd be logging into CompTIA. You'd schedule your exam for either home proctoring or on-site proctoring, which is a test center. And from there, you just schedule your exam, you book it, and you take your exam on the slots booked. So to get started with, I suppose we're just going to look at the CompTIA ITF Plus. And being realistic, and so the point of this presentation is that anybody can interrupt me here if you have a question, or you just there's something I haven't put into this and you're just wondering. So please kind of do interrupt me and ask me any question you have on it. But what I got to do is I have the slideshow, and I'm going to go through each of the certifications, and if at any point you have a question, just ask it. Just say, hey, question, and I'll do my best to answer it. So the CompTIA ITF Plus is the IT Fundamentals certification. The point of it is that it's a very beginner level certification. So what that means is you don't know if you want a career in IT. It's equivalent to the likes of your ECDL, which is your European Computer Driver's License. And the point being is that the CompTIA ITF is a vendor neutral certification, just like the ECDL. What that means for anyone doing it. So the overview page for CompTIA ITF Plus is that it compares with the likes of the ECDL or the Microsoft Technology Associates or the ITS Literacy and Digital Qualification. So the point being is that if you're looking to get started in IT, this is very basic. What ITF Plus kind of goes through is just your basic software installs, your PC connectivity, and your kind of basic security principles. So, you know, like if you have a Windows device or if you have a Linux device or whatever device you have, how should you secure that? Should you be installing an antivirus? Very basic stuff. It's really and truly for students who don't know if they want a career in IT. Okay, Frank, thanks for telling me. Didn't know my camera was frozen. Just let me know if it comes back there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, awesome, perfect. So it's really for anybody who's getting started in IT is what it is. Next up is the CompTIA A+. So the A+ is broken up into 2 exams. It's your Core 1 and Core 2. Each of these exams are the way most people put it is they're broken up into kind of software and hardware. So the A+ in itself is pretty much a mammoth exam. The A+ is pretty much a mammoth exam, and it covers the depth and breadth of basics in IT, meaning that you're going to look at peripherals, you're going to look at software installs, you're going to look at hardware of PCs and servers, and you're also going to look at the likes of networking as part of your A+. While CompTIA does have other exams that kind of go into more depth on some of these areas, the A+ would be considered your kind of gold standard for IT basics, meaning that if you want to show your employer that you understand the basics of IT, this is what you're going to be going for. It's broken up into 2 exams, as I said, each exam costing over $300 plus dollars. You're going to have to sit part 1 and part 2 in 2 separate exams, and once you have passed both of those exams, you will then get your A+ certification. So I just thought, with A+ being the basics in IT, I just thought I have a little video that I wanted to show so people could just get an idea of it as we go through this. So I hope everyone was able to hear the audio on that video when I played it. Just let me know if you didn't, will you? You were able to hear it, yeah?
No, yeah, all good.
Yeah, perfect. No, just
All
making sure with the way Teams is working at the moment, it's just weird. So the point being is, before up until the last year, people really didn't know what CompTIA A+ was. A+ realistically is your basics in IT. It can be directly compared to what was more so an MCSA, which is what Microsoft have retired over the last 2 years, or your MTA certification, or your Cisco CCENT. So A+ is for people who are beginning the first 2 years. It's help desk, it's IT support, it's your I suppose systems admin support, that kind of stuff. You're going to be taking A+ if you have an employer that requires this. It's the basics of IT, while ITF Plus is the entry route into CompTIA certification. A+ is pretty much the gold standard for help desk. So if you're going into a help desk role, employers either want you to have this, they want to see that you're going to get it, or they want to see that you have the aptitude to sit down, study, and use this every day for the first few years of your life in help desk support. Really and truly, it is a valuable certification if you're going into help desk, if you're going to be spending the first 3 years of your life beginning in IT. The kind of salary range that people have asked me, what does A+ give you? It's going to be a bit of a shock for anyone that doesn't know this, but A+ will kind of give you the medium salary of €24,000 if you're in Ireland. Not a lot. Why is that? It's because you're starting out. You may not have done certification up until now. You may not have a college degree. You may just be starting out as an apprentice. it's basically your starting point. So A+ is the gold standard for help desk. It's a salary of minimum of 24,000. It can vary depending on your age, your demographic, and your level of understanding, I suppose, in IT. So if we were to kind of rate this in terms of if I went and I applied for a job just with my A+, I could get easily anywhere from 22,000 to 30,000 starting out, which isn't the worst salary. So just it gives you an idea to be realistic in terms of what you'd expect out of A+, and from as a starting point, that's where you're going. Another example of what kind of would help you on top of your A+ is, and Purav said it, is your ITIL, which is your ITIL certification. If you're starting in desktop support, I'd actually recommend doing your A+ before ITIL. Why is that? Because A+ is now recognized worldwide, and it actually contains some of the ITIL methodologies in it. So you could actually, in CompTIA's badging for A+, it actually has it in there as one of the components. So technically you have a form of ITIL qualification out of A+, just not ITIL's one. So just something to bear in mind. Table of contents. So I'm not going to go through it in depth, but the point of what CompTIA have done is that instead of having two separate documents outlining your core 1 and your core 2, they've brought it all in as one content, table of contents for people. If you're training through a partner like CompTIA or FireEye or Firebrand or any of those like Jason Dion, Mike Chappell, Thor teaches, any of those guys, you're going to probably be doing a course, and it's probably going to be a Udemy or YouTube or a LinkedIn Learn course. And those courses are really valuable because often you can get them for a tenner online, and you can do your certification that way rather than spending 100 or 200 on a course with, Firebrand training or CompTIA. What I'd suggest is when people are looking at the table of contents, really break down that and look at what you actually need to understand from an objectives point of view. If a CompTIA objective says you need to know your different forms of hard drives, you need to know that. So you need to know, like, if you get a performance-based question in an exam on, okay, we have a desktop, what way are you going to rig it up? Are you gonna put an SSD into it? Are you gonna put what type of RAM are you putting into this? What type of motherboard's gonna go in? All that kind of good stuff. So CompTIA will kind of outline the objectives for you, and it is up to you to then study that. Most of CompTIA's exams will have objectives 1.0 to 12.0, and it'll go through each section. Secure. It might start at PC peripherals, PC security, that kind of stuff. So they might have it broken down further for you. So look at the objectives, look at what they're asking. Be aware that you're going to get performance-based questions on different elements, and it might not just be one element, it'll be a mixture of a couple together. So just understand that, and understand that the A+ is CompTIA's entry-level certification. Has anybody got any questions on that? If they do, I'd be happy to answer them. So just, I suppose, to kind of reiterate that the CompTIA A+ is their entry-level certification. The typical stuff you're going to be learning in the A+ is hardware operating systems, software troubleshooting, networking, security, mobile devices, virtualization and cloud, and operational procedures. the kind of jobs you're going to be getting is probably of an IT specialist or a field service technician or IT support, help desk, business analyst, those kind of things. That's where you're going to be going with it. Yeah, Dan, hi.
Hey, with you use the example of hard drives.
Yep.
And understanding what kinds. Would they ask questions about like SSD versus a traditional hard drive or interfaces or all of the above?
All of the above. They might even go into further details as to ask you like what kind of RPM of the disks, or what type of disks, in terms of like besides your SSD, your HDD, you might have your different style of disks, especially with the likes of SSD having changed so much. You now have flash memory and you have different chips. You might have M2, M1, that kind of stuff. So they're gonna kind of expect people to really know their hard drives, especially when they're building a PC from scratch. Anybody else? No. Okay, so I suppose to just summarize, A+, it was launched in 2022, which is the current version. It is a classic example of someone who should have at least 1 year of help desk support. The cost of the A+ exam is $246, and the pass range of the A+ is 750. That is the passing. Sorry, my apologies. That is the passing score. I just got that wrong. My apologies. So because of the exam changes recently, they've actually lowered the scores. So the passing score for the 1101 is actually 675 now out of a scale of 900, and the passing score of the 1102 is 700 on a scale of 900. So it's kind of recommended to have your 9 to 12 months experience in help desk, and the CEUs needed to renew your A+ are 20 credits, 20 CEUs for renewal. Network Plus, the world of networking. Why networking? Why do CompTIA's Network Plus exam? Okay, so CompTIA have multiple learning resources available for Network Plus. Some of them are your CertMaster Learn labs and practice. You can obviously get the CompTIA study guide for Network Plus. The current exam version of Network Plus is the N10 008, actually. So that's CompTIA's newest version of the Network Plus exam. The kind of things you're going to be looking at with Network Plus is you're going to be looking at supporting networks of any platform, meaning that you're going to be able to sit there and go into a data center and look at different types of equipment. So that's everything from your Fortinet to your Palo Alto to your Microsoft Azure networking, to maybe you might have Cisco, that kind of stuff. So you can be expected to know that kind of stuff, and you're going to be expected to know how to configure it. Some of the skills you're going to learn as part of networking is going to be the cutting of cables, so cutting, crimping, joining, that kind of stuff for your Network Plus. And you're also going to have to understand things like the OSI model, how to troubleshoot a network, all that kind of stuff. So once you start doing that, you kind of get more of a flavor of what kind of fundamentals you're going to be doing on a daily basis. So the things CompTIA say that you're going to learn are networking fundamentals. You're going to learn networking operations, and you're also going to learn networking security. So from the very start of networking, from transmission to encryption to at rest, that kind of stuff. So data and networking are kind of together. in a way, depending on what you're doing. You're going to have to know how to troubleshoot a network. So how do you know if a fiber optic cable has been damaged? How do you know if you're having issues with latency? That kind of stuff. So the kind of jobs you're going to get with Network Plus are, again, going to be very similar to help desk. They're going to be IT service technician, network specialist, security operations, data center networking personnel, that kind of stuff. The N10008, that exam launched in September 15, 2021. Just a heads up to anyone looking at the Network Plus. That exam is due a refresh soon. So if you're going to take it, I'd suggest take it over the next few months. It's a passing score of 720 on a scale of 900 for the Network Plus, and it's $358 if you want to sit the test. What it's compared to is the Cisco CCNA, which is vendor specific. So Cisco CCNA focuses on specific vendor technologies, example, Cisco's proprietary equipment. Just the good example of it is the ASAs. So instead of just looking at Cisco's equipment, you're going to be looking at networking as a whole. So again, sonic walls, Fortinet routers in general, networking in general. You're going to be looking at VLANing, and the kind of person that's going for Network Plus is someone that wants to delve further and deeper into the networking route. You're not going to be doing Network Plus if you've just started in the help desk. Although networking is a requirement to understand and it's a fundamental, you might give yourself a year before kind of looking at your Network Plus just to get hands-on in the help desk side of things. Network Plus can be renewed. It's 30 CEUs, and it again, it's kind of a beginner level as well because you're still learning. So you have your ITF Plus, your A Plus, your Network Plus. They're all kind of core certifications that you need to have to understand networking better. So just to add to this, I thought I'd include a video just on networking, CompTIA networking. So I just said I'd put this in for anyone looking at this. So that video just kind of gives you an idea of what kind of Network Plus is about. Network Plus is broken up into multiple objectives. It starts at lesson 1 and it ends at lesson 18. So for Network Plus, you're going to be looking at setting up networks. You're going to be looking at troubleshooting them. You're going to be looking at VLANing. You're also going to be looking at WAN, LAN, and VPN technologies. For Network Plus, you're also going to be looking at IPv4 addressing and IPv6 addressing. Again, you're going to have to understand how to troubleshoot these networks. So everything from VLANing to VLAN tagging to trunking to creating route tables to creating static routes to creating different types, I'm going to say, of encryptions as part of networking. So you're going to be looking at the OSI model a lot. and that kind of stuff. So really and truly, kind of Network Plus is the vendor neutral answer to networking in general. It is a basic certification in networking. If you want to go kind of more higher or intermediate, you'd be looking at your CCNA or CCENT if you really want to focus further on networking. But Network Plus is an excellent bridge where you might be missing that knowledge or that gap, and it shows employers that, look, I've done my A plus and I've done my Network Plus, so I have a good basis of how to perform different functions in both a help desk and a network kind of support role. And that's really what Network Plus is. Security Plus. Okay, so the Security Plus is CompTIA's answer to the basics of IT security. So it's a global certification that validates the baseline skills necessary to perform core security functions and pursue a career in IT. So the point of Security Plus is that it gives you a basis for understanding attack threats and vulnerabilities. You'll be looking at operations and incident response for Security Plus. Governance, risk, and compliance will be an area you'll focus on as well. And you'll be looking at implementing and putting in place architecture and design. So Security Plus is pretty much the gold standard for getting started in security. It's a world-renowned certification. It's your basics again, just like your A plus and Network Plus, in understanding the different types of security controls. So the exam is currently at SYO 601, and it stands at a passing score of 750 out of 900. To take the exam, it's going to cost you $392. And if we look at how Security Plus compares, it does do a comparison against the likes of your IC Squared, SSCP, your EC Council CEH, and your GIAC Security Essentials. So realistically, this is an entry-level cybersecurity certification. With Security Plus, you will see the kinds of questions you're going to get are going to be security controls, ways of securing data, ways of securing networks, how do you secure servers, that kind of stuff. The point of it is that it will help you identify attacks and vulnerabilities, and it'll help you to understand how to mitigate them. It'll also kind of give you a demonstration and understanding of how to secure virtualization and servers that are in the cloud and on-prem. It'll also kind of help you to understand identity and access management and the importance of compliance. So Security Plus really is your basics in security. It is 50 CEUs to renew it, which are quite a lot, and you are required again to do that every 3 years. So Security Plus is your, I suppose, your getting started stance to IT in terms of IT security. So you're starting off with your Security Plus. A lot of people, it's really interesting. A lot of people skip the ITF Plus, A Plus, and Network Plus, and they go straight to Security Plus. So why people might do that, if you have more than 3 years in IT and you figure that you already have those basics mastered and you don't really need certification, demonstrate that, people just go straight in for Security Plus. True, people do that, but people also do it because Security Plus is probably one of the most popular certifications on the market at the moment in terms of getting your foot into cybersecurity. Most employers require it. Most employers either like to see it on a CV or they want to see that you're willing to get it. And I can tell you, Security Plus does take time to train and certify in. So Again, one other important thing to mention here is Security Plus does fulfill a DoD directive, which is Department of Defense. So if you're in the US and you're looking for any secure clearance jobs, or you're looking to work in any of the government agencies, Security Plus fulfills that requirement. Again, Security Plus table of contents is broken down into objectives. CompTIA go over this in detail, and you are required to be able to demonstrate these through multiple choice questions, performance-based questions, and also kind of tick the box questions, I'm going to say, so depending on what you're doing. Security Plus is, I'd estimate that if you're studying for Security Plus, it should really only take you about 2 or 3 months max, especially if you're in IT for over 3 years. So ITF Plus, no study required. Just go take the exam if you want to see how you feel about your basics. A Plus, for A Plus, you're going to be looking at because of the amount of content in both exams, you're going to be looking at maybe 6 months study for A Plus. And for Security Plus, you should only be looking at about 3 months study. So that kind of gives you an idea of where Security Plus sits on the study hard versus study smart kind of meter. So 3 months realistically. Cloud Plus. So CompTIA have a certification known as Cloud Plus. It is kind of your answer to everything to do with cloud. So Cloud Plus is a global certification that validates skills needed to deploy and automate secure environments that support high availability of business systems and data. CompTIA offer the Cloud Plus certification and study guides through CertMaster Learn Labs and integrated CertMaster practice. The kind of things you're going to be doing in Cloud Plus are cloud architecture and design, cloud security deployments to cloud, such as using AWS and Azure. You're also going to be looking at operations and support, and you're going to be looking at troubleshooting. The kind of roles you're going to be getting with the Cloud Plus certification is your systems admin, your network engineer, your network admin, or your cloud specialist. So the current exam version of Cloud Plus is CVO 003. It's a multiple choice performance-based question based exam, just like the rest of CompTIA's exam, and it is 750 out of a scale of 900 to pass. Excuse me. Cloud Plus is one of CompTIA's more challenging exams. Even if you have taken your A Plus, Network Plus, and Security Plus, huge advice to anyone taking it: don't underestimate this exam. It is quite difficult. It does compare well with IC Squared's CCSSP exam, which is their Certified Cloud Security Professional, Amazon's AWS Solution Architect, and Microsoft's Azure Solution Architect as well. It is quite a difficult exam. I would recommend, if you're studying for this, that you do have your 5 years in IT in general support. So just make sure you have that there, because that will help you going through the exam. Again, it's a 750 out of 900 passing, so you have to do quite well. The Cloud Plus exam itself, it recommends that you have 3 years. So me saying 5 years means that you should probably have at least 3 years. It's a performance-based exam. It is the job roles you're going to be doing are all cloud and systems admin in the cloud, and you're probably going to want to have a lot of hands-on experience with the likes of AWS and Azure. The CE requirement is 50, and it can be renewed every 3 years. Table of contents. So for Cloud Plus, you're going to be looking at cloud concepts, everything from storage, security, high availability solutions, WAN, LAN, VLAN, kind of networks. You're also going to be looking at the different maintenance requirements for cloud technologies. So what you have to do to maintain an AWS environment, an Azure environment, your connection between on-premise v off-premise, your connection in between different cloud versions, so your GCP, your AWS, and your Azure. How are you going to configure multi-cloud solutions, that kind of thing. So they're all the kind of things you're going to be looking at with Cloud Plus. CompTIA Server Plus is on par with Cloud Plus in terms of difficulty level. Server Plus has one distinct difference. It only focuses on servers. So with servers, you're going to be, the purpose of Server Plus is that you're going to be ensuring that you have the skills to work in data centers or cloud environments. Again, Cloud Plus and Server Plus, they come realistically, you should be doing both to first have your cloud, I suppose, skills level kept up to date, and then Server Plus really ensure that you understand servers, especially with the lack of server certification out there at the moment. I mean, you have your hybrid server from Microsoft, which are 2 exams, but there's not a lot of vendor neutral Server Plus exams. So the current exam for this is the SKO 005. It's $750 on a scale of 900 to pass. It's going to cost you $358. And it's recommended, again, like Cloud Plus, that you have 3 years experience in it. The one catch with Server Plus is once you get it, you never lose it. So Server Plus is considered a good for life certification, meaning that you do not have to renew it, which is really good. So that means even if new versions come out, you will always retain the Server Plus certification. So it's just really worth looking at, especially if you want a good alternative to something that you don't have to renew every 3 years. Again, Server Plus, the table of contents goes through the different areas. You're going to be doing your typical stuff with servers, server setups, RAID configurations, installing and setting up different server roles. You might be looking at clustering. You might also be looking at the different types of storage management. You'll also be looking at how server networking plays into your overall architecture, and then you're also going to be looking at the likes of decommissioning servers, how to kind of successfully retire servers and that kind of stuff. So Server Plus really has a kind of a good mix. If you're looking for one that you don't want to renew every 3 years, it's really good and worth doing. Pen test. So CompTIA Pen Test Plus is CompTIA's answer to penetration testing. The purpose of the CompTIA Pen Test Plus exam is that it's your entry into penetration testing. So if you consider yourself a bit of I'm going to say some sort of a defender or hacker, you're going to be looking at CompTIA's Pen Test Plus exam. The cost is $392. The passing score is 750 out of 900. This is pretty much beast of an exam, and it's an intermediate level certification. Again, for something like this, you're probably going to want to take your time with it. You're going to need to understand Linux and Kali and offensive, I suppose, technologies. If you're doing things like Hack the Box and other sites, I'm going to say there's many of them out there. If you're doing that kind of stuff, really focus on the labs, really focus on the different encryptions, focus on how to kind of, get into a network, privilege escalation, backdoors, that kind of stuff. Pentest Plus really kind of sets itself apart from the rest of CompTIA's certification, meaning that this is something that will actually test you. It has labs, it has performance-based, it has multiple choice, it has, long questions in it. It has, choose 3, choose 4, it has everything in there. Pentest Plus is a good example of something that you could compare against the likes of your CEH or your GAIAC or your OSCP. OSCP being harder actually than Pentest Plus, to be honest. The CEH and the GAIAC are both intermediate, and so is Pentest, but the OSCP is actually advanced penetration testing. So just if you're looking for something that that's vendor neutral, has a bit more hands-on than GAIAC and EC Council, but that is a little less difficult than your OSCP, Pentest Plus is really worth having, and it's a requirement, especially if you're in the DoD and you're doing any penetration testing. So it's worth doing. The good and the bad. So the kind of skills you're going to learn is you're going to learn about pen testing, scoping. You're also going to learn information gathering and vulnerability assessments and scanning. You're also going to look at attacks and exploits, and you're also going to look at reporting and communication. You're going to be using tools as part of Pentest Plus, so the different tools available in Kali Linux, John the Ripper, that kind of stuff. You're also going to be looking at using Wireshark. You're also going to be looking at using a multitude of tools that are available in Kali Linux, really and truly. So kind of sky's the limit on that one. Who is Pentest? Who is Pentest for? As in, like, what jobs are you going to get? Pen test, security consultant, cloud penetration test, web app, network and security specialist. The pen test exam is currently at PTO-002. That's the number. It is a 750 on a scale of 900 to pass. And again, it's $392. You're probably going to want to give yourself a bit of time for this one. The CEU requirement is 60 credits. So you have 60 hours worth of continuing education units to do for that one. Again, table of contents goes into a lot of different technologies, hacking, forensics. There's really a lot in it. So you're probably going to be studying for about 6 months, realistically, to really get a good hands-on feel for Pentest Plus. So that's what I'd recommend. Get good with Linux, get good with Kali, get good with Red Hat, understand how to actually do a pen test. Use Hack the Box, create a few labs, that kind of stuff. Just get into it. Okay, so we're going to take a bit of a turn here to CISA. So if you are the kind of person that doesn't like pen testing, you're going to like probably defending. So CISA is CompTIA's cybersecurity analyst exam. It is currently at CSO-002, but CSO-003 is coming out in June of 2023. The kind of things you're going to be looking at with CISA is threat and vulnerability management, software security, compliance and assessment, security operations, and incident response. The kind of roles you're going to get with CISA are security analyst, threat intelligence, incident response, threat hunter, that kind of stuff. You're probably going to want to give yourself a bit of time with this as well. So the passing score is 750 out of 900 again, and it's going to be costing you $392 to take it. This is considered a intermediate level certification, just like Pentest Plus. How it compares quite well to the EC Council, ECSA. So if you're thinking of doing CISA, you're going to be looking at also comparing it against the Certified Security Analyst or the Continuous Monitoring Certification from GAIAC or the Certified Information System Auditor. 3 of them being intermediate, CISA being more advanced. One difference between CISA and the rest of them is it has performance-based questions, meaning PBQs, multiple choice, long questions, different category questions, that kind of stuff. So if you're looking at defending rather than pen testing or attacking, you're going to be looking at CISA really and truly. So it's more defensive rather than attack. So you're going to also need to give yourself time with this. It's 60 CEU requirement, and the table of contents for CISA is quite large as well. So it goes into different kind of things you're going to be looking at. So you're going to be looking at information security, and you're going to be looking at collecting and kind of prioritizing defensive security measures. You're also going to be looking at data privacy. Other stuff you're going to be looking at CISA is cloud defense. So how do you actually defend your network in the cloud? So like your NSGs, your firewalls, your gateways, all that kind of stuff. So you're probably going to need to give yourself a bit of time. I'd recommend maybe 3 to 6 months with this, and then see how you get on. Again, it follows the same suit as pen tests, so you need to give yourself time to really understand the material, and you're probably going to want to do a lot of practice tests with this, because this exam can be more challenging than pen test, or other way around, pen test can be more challenging than this exam, depending on what you find easy. So just give yourself a chance with it. All right, so we're nearly there towards the end of it. So we're just on the CAS Plus certification. So the CAS Plus is CompTIA's Advanced Security Practitioner level. Not a lot of us around these days. So CAS Plus is CA. The version is CAS-004. It's the only hands-on performance-based certification for practitioners and not managers. Again, I stress this is not a certification if you want to be a pencil pusher. And I say that with all respect to people who are in IT that are doing more of a leadership role rather than technical hands-on. So the point of CAS Plus is that it is hands-on. It's for security architects and senior security engineers charged with leading and improving an enterprise's cybersecurity readiness. So you're going to be the person that people go to if suddenly your network is breached and they've gone through the different levels of support, different teams have been involved. We have a guy who's CAS Plus certified. We're going to ask him how to do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to ask him for the best approach here. So CAS Plus is broken up into skills you'll learn are security architecture, security operations, governance, risk and compliance, and security engineering and cryptography. The person that's going to have this is a security architect or a solutions architect, and that's it, or a SOC manager even. The CASP exam, good news and bad news. Bad news is that it's going to cost you $494 to take it. It is a whopper of an exam. The good news is you're going to have to 165 minutes, which is good. The other bit of news, the bad news, is that it is pass-fail only. So you do not know your score when you leave the exam. You don't know it. For 15 minutes, they don't tell you yours. They don't tell you whether you've passed or failed the exam. So the CAS Plus is the only exam in CompTIA's list that is pass-fail, and it's the only exam that's not scored or publicly posted. So you'll never get a result from it. Again, at $494, you're not going to be given CompTIA donations on that. So how the CAS Plus compares is that it is a performance-based exam. The experience level is advanced, just like IC Squared, GAIAC, and ISACA. So CAS compares with the CISP. Yeah, actually, that is a good question. So do you wanna just jump in, Parav, if you want to talk there for a sec? Yeah, that's odd. They don't give you a proper score, but just pass fail. It's not really. Technically, CISP is the same, except CISP, most people know that it's out of 700, but with CASP, you actually don't know what it's out of. They just don't tell you. Which is disappointing, especially if you're someone that, you studied really hard and you might have only got 3 or 4 items wrong, but you still failed the exam. So it's the only exam that you can take and never know your score ever. So it's not published. It's not out of 700s. It's not out of anything. Nobody knows what the pass rate for CASP is. Point being that CASP was brought out for people who needed a DoD clearance of level 2 or IAM level 3. Again, it's on par with CISP, except for the fact that it doesn't have IAA 3 level 3. So that's the only difference. You're probably gonna want to have a good bit of experience in IT. It is recommended that you have 10 years of experience before you take this exam. And I do second that because it is a brutal exam. Not the easiest exam to take. Haven't taken it, obviously, myself. I can tell you, you would certainly be left scratching your head going, I've never seen this in my life. So, again, just a quick recap. The current version is CAS-004. It came out on October 6, 2021. It is a technical practitioner level exam. It's multiple choice and performance based. It's 165 minutes, and it is $494 to take and attempt the exam. Again, table of contents for CASP is quite large. Goes into a lot of cryptography, risk management, governance, compliance, business continuity, cryptography. You know, it maps to a lot of different things. Yeah, you're 100% Borough. CASP is the only one that actually touches off e-discovery, and I actually think it's there in that list somewhere. And if it's not, I'm blind. It definitely does touch off e-discovery. You're right. What it does though is it's such an unusual. Just before we go on to the last few slides, CASP Plus is CompTIA's flagship exam. So it's the highest exam. You get CASP Plus, it renews all your other exams with the exception of Cloud Plus. Cloud Plus is something like 40 CEUs, and you submit them. While your intent level is CASP, you still have to submit the CEUs for that, just the evidence that you've done 40 extra hours for Cloud Plus under the Cloud Plus page. Yeah, lesson 2, you're right, Dan. Yeah. So again, if you're taking CASP Plus, you're gonna want to go in there with 10 years, or at least 5 is what I'd say. 5 years. Go in with 5 good years in IT security. It is quite a brutal exam. Again, I think it's probably one of the most difficult ones I've done. I wouldn't like to be failing it at a price tag of $494. So if you're taking your CASP Plus, I would recommend that you get a retake as part of it, especially if you're not sure that you're going to pass it. Again, it's passed on the day based on what CompTIA say is the pass rate, is the pass that day. So depending on how many people have taken it that day will depend on I reckon, the pass rate. So because it's never scored, and because it's never scaled, and because it's never published, we don't truly know what the pass rate is. But you can kind of certainly have a good guess, an educated guess at what it is. It's going to be high. It's going to be quite high in comparison to the rest of them. So if the average for the rest of the exams was 750, you can imagine out of 900, you can imagine what this is going to be like. So just, draw your own conclusion on that.
Matthew, sorry, one
Yep.
quick question. I've got my headset now, so hopefully you can hear me. With the CASP Plus, you mentioned it's kind of close to the CISSP. How does it compare to the SC100, which is the Microsoft cybersecurity one?
It's the same. It's the absolute. It's actually the SC100 is easier than the CASP. Obviously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Microsoft's SC100 is a bit of a it's more of a case of Microsoft ask you to go do all the SC exams and then take your SC 100. And if you put all your SC exams and then your SC 100 together, that will probably bring you up to what CASP is. Realistically, It's the same content across. Lovely to hear you finally. I was seeing all your comments, and obviously we were supposed to have more people on this, but again, it's going to be recorded for anyone that wants to look at it. CASP Plus really is their flagship. You're going to find on LinkedIn, especially, a lot of people that are in IT the last 5 years are now starting to get their CASP, surprisingly, because not everyone realizes how valuable it actually is. When you have it, you're kind of part of an elite group of people, just like the CISP, and people are going, oh wait, this guy actually has his CASP. Like, even if you did no other CompTIA exam and you just did your CASP, it's kind of like, okay, he has his CASP. But then the problem is, you look at CASP and you say, why didn't I do like my security plus my pen test and my CISA if I did my CASP? So that's where this whole stackable thing starts getting really frustrating for people, because people might have 2 of 3 exams done, and they might be missing out on like your CSIS, CSIE, whatever it is. And CompTIA have done that on purpose, because they basically want you to go and do each of the levels. But CASP on its own is absolutely perfect to do. But what I would see is, if you have like all your basics, you don't really need like your ITF plus, your A plus, your network plus. But what you're going to still need is your security plus, your CISA, your pen test, and your CASP. So you can cut out some of the exams that CompTIA offer by going, focusing on, like, if you're going into security, you're going to be looking at security plus, CISA, and CASP are your 3 things. If you're going into pen testing, you're going to add pen test to that. But if you're starting from scratch and you have literally no knowledge of IT, and you want to get from basic to practitioner level, you're going to probably start at the very beginning and work your way up. And it actually works out well, especially if it's every 3-year interval. So, like, I mean, if you gave yourself maybe, if you were in IT and you didn't have anything, just let's say someone didn't have anything, you give yourself 2-3 years to kind of build up some of these certs as well. So you might get your A plus, then you might get your net, then your security plus. You have your first 3, and then you take a break for a year. You just do a cert master renewal on those 3, and it renews all 3 of them for the next 3 years. And then from that on, you kind of build and you go to what's next. Like, do you want to do your pen, your CISA, CASP, that kind of stuff? It's really worth looking. It's worth looking into in more detail if you want to go down that route. Like, where are you at the moment in terms of your career, I suppose, is the better question.
Yeah, so I've mostly been, I guess, involved in sort of Microsoft security, but initially when I wanted to get into cyber, I did attend a boot camp for Network Plus and Security Plus and the CH. Suffice to say, I didn't do any of the exams, but what was really helpful was just knowing the content and sort of applying them in a home lab, which was enough to kind of demonstrate in interviews. But it's always been like a skeleton in my closet to, like, I really want to clear the Security Plus just to, kind of finish that off. But I just haven't got around to it yet.
But do you work it? Do you do the basics of security daily, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, currently I'm in incident response. I've spanned quite a few roles in cyber. So I've been a SOC analyst. I did a bit of vulnerability management, a bit of EDR deployment, and a bit of risk management. So I've kind of jumped around quite a bit. But yeah, currently I'm doing incident response.
Yeah, you definitely need to go just sit the exam. If you've been doing that, I wouldn't even worry too much about the study element, and you've already done a boot camp and you're actually working in it. I'd just go, it's a case of taking it, honestly. And I know, because I was in your shoes for years, I went from core infrastructure to security, which was like, I started off with my Office 365, where I was doing all the security assessments on that. Then I went into looking at Defender, and then I went into looking at CrowdStrike, that kind of stuff. So I started off, like, from the day I got my Security Plus exam is when it all excelled really for me, honestly.
Right.
And it does show your employer, they literally go and they look at your, like, if you go to your employer and say, hey, I want a raise, I think I deserve a raise, I do a lot of work here, and they're like, okay, and they say, well, what's your education, or what's your goals for next year? And it's like, I want to be a cybersecurity architect, or I want to be a cybersecurity lead or manager. And they're going, okay, so you want to raise, and you also want to study. Okay, what exams? And you give them the list of the exams, and they're like, okay, all right, so we can see you have potential, and that's where it comes from. So if you do your first one, so if you take Security Plus and you don't get it reimbursed for that, and you just say, look, I'm going to take this on the chin, spend the $300, whatever it is, take it, pass it, and then I'm going to go to my employer and be like, look, I've just passed my Security Plus. I'm looking for a raise, and I'm also looking for an advancement in terms of job opportunity here within the company. And usually any employer worth its salt will do that with you. They'll see the potential and be like, okay, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah,
So
no,
definitely
that's good.
do it. Go take it.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is, I tell people, it's first attempt in learning, which is fail.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And there's not one person out there, I don't think, that can tell you they haven't failed their Security Plus exam first attempt. Like, it does happen. A lot of people fail it. Some people pass it, but most people fail their first attempt at it. But if you go in there with previous knowledge, chances are you'll pass it. If you already have been doing security and incident response as a job, it's usually people going from help desk that are trying to take their exam. So yeah, no, go for it, definitely.
Yeah, that's good advice. Thanks, Matthew.
Hopefully that helps. And just if anybody, I suppose, the last few slides are kind of smaller because these exams, while they're quite big in terms of they do have content, they don't have any lot of official guides out for some of these exams in terms of. So Linux Plus is not a new exam. It's been out a good while. It is worth doing if you're looking at kind of transitioning over to Pentest. I actually would suggest, and I did this the wrong way around. So I went off and I did my Pentest Plus exam before Linux. I would suggest, if you're taking a Linux exam, if you're taking your Pentest exam, go do your Linux first, because it gives you a better idea. So the Linux exam is a 720 pass rate out of 900, and it is recommended that you've 12 months in Linux. And I can tell you this much, you should have at least 2 years in Linux before taking this, not 12 months, because the exam goes into huge detail on Linux commands. Literally, if you don't know how to do something in Linux or Kali or Red Hat or any of that, you're in big trouble with this exam. You need to understand Linux as an OS, how you actually operate the command line. You really need to understand it. It's for people who have in-depth training and use ability of Linux environments in their workplace. The things you're going to be looking at are system management, security troubleshooting, and in case you forgot, I haven't, it's scripting, containers, and automation. So Linux Plus is scripting. If you don't know how to script, you won't pass this exam. So I would definitely be setting up a lab environment, having a look at how different versions of Linux work. It is compared to the Red Hat Certified Systems Administrator. It is a performance-based exam, and it focuses on the latest technology and trends for IT professionals in an enterprise environment, covering all distributions of Linux. So it's not just one version, it's all of them. So you could get asked on anything. And this is a performance-based exam again. and it's recommended you have at least 12 months. I'm saying 2 years to really get hands-on and to be able to pass it. So that's just my opinion. All right, and it's going to, if you're taking the Linux Plus exam, it's saucy. It's going to cost you $358 as well. So one exam that is very underutilized, and there's not a huge amount up on CompTIA's website about it, is the Project Plus exam. It's a good alternative to the likes of the PMP, which is your Project Management Institute. They have brought out a new version of this, PKO 005, and I actually took it. It is definitely on par with Prince and PMP. So if you're looking for a vendor neutral version of project management and you're down the CompTIA roadmap, definitely do this exam. It is 710 on a scale of 900, which is very decent. It's recommended you have 12 months of project management experience, and it's going to cost you $358 to take it. The stuff you're going to learn is project basics, project constraints, communication and change management, and the different types of tools and documentations. Again, this is what you see is what you get. It's Project Plus. It's project orientated in terms of you're going to need to understand project lifestyle from start to finish. So like the likes of your waterfall, your agile, that kind of stuff. Basically what you would have learned in Prince, in the Prince certification or the project management professional certification.
Matthew, sorry.
Yep.
One question. So this Project Plus, because I was considering potentially looking at this, but more from a cyber perspective. Do you think it would help in terms of like driving initiatives forward? Does it kind of teach you how to plan, how to keep track of stakeholders, all those kind of things?
Yeah, 100%. It actually has helped. I am not a project person. I am probably the worst person in the world to ask to sit down to do documentation because I hate it. When I say I hate it, I just hate the fact that you have to sit down and be so detailed. This taught me all the different methods and the ways of keeping track of projects and how to do, project charters and all that. So it fixed the gap that I had in the documentation side, where I'm able to do documentation and I can write for years on end, but how do I bring it into a concise, easy to read format that follows a framework or a method that stakeholders can understand? So if I was presenting something, I should be able to present in a manner that they can understand so that they're not looking at me going, what? Didn't understand a word you just said. So yeah, no, it has definitely helped me in that retrospect. And it's probably better than going down the PMP route because that's more American, unless your employer asks for PMP. Project Plus is a good alternative. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Cloud Essentials Plus, I'm going to be honest. Good certification, very basic. If you decide, if you're someone that's not doing your Cloud Plus, Cloud Essentials Plus is where you're going. So if you need the likes of ITIL as one of those skills, it's actually listed in the badge of Cloud Essentials Plus. So technically, if someone says, oh, we need you to have ITIL, you can actually go and do your Cloud Essentials Plus. ITIL is in it, and it's there listed on the Creditly badge that you get. ITIL is one of the categories in it. So it's, again, Cloud Essentials Plus is just very basic. It's an intro to cloud. It's more of a business side certification. It's for both IT and non-technical professionals who require the business acumen needed to make informed cloud service decisions. The kind of stuff you're going to just be looking at with it is cloud concepts, business principles of cloud environments management, and technical operations, governance, risks, compliance, and security for cloud. The current exam is CLO-002, and it is 60 minutes, and it's 720 on a scale of 100 to 900. The good thing about this is it's only $134 to do it. So it's actually relatively cheap. to do your Cloud Essentials Plus, and it has ITIL in it as one of the categories. So definitely worth doing. So we're nearly at the end of this. So this is the last one. So Data Plus. Who doesn't love Data Plus? So Data Plus is CompTIA's newest certification. If you've never heard of it, go look it up. What it covers is data concepts and environments, visualization, data mining, data analysis, governance, quality, and controls. The kind of person that's going to be using Data Plus is reporting analysts, operation analysts, marketing, business intelligence, and data architect. The exam first launched in February 2022. Its code is DAO-001. The passing score is 675 on a scale of 900, and it's $246 to take. The Data Plus is a beginner level data certification, but it just shows employers that you know your stuff in terms of data analytics. It's only 20 CEUs to renew, so it's quite an easy one. I'm going to play the video for a minute, and then after this, we only have 3 slides, so we'll just do a quick Q&A and go, and then we'll close up for the evening. So I'll just play this one and we'll go from there. So Data Plus is exactly that. It's a beginner level certification into data analytics. Word to anyone watching this, CompTIA will be coming out with more intermediate level certifications over the next 3 years. And one of them is going to be in data analytics. So it's worthwhile to start now if you're getting into data, rather than so much later when too many of them have come out and it'll take you ages to catch up. So the next certification is the CompTIA CTT Plus. It is the CompTIA technical trainer. If you want to train people in CompTIA certifications, you are required to hold this certification. It is required for both the virtual or classroom. So you can hold either to be able to train people, but you must hold one of them. The CTT Plus consists of 2 exams. One is a written exam, which is a multiple choice and performance based. And then the second one is a recorded session, which is performance based. So you'll be required to pass an exam, and you'll also be required to pass a recorded exam as well. So you will be checked against a recording. You will be asked to conduct a class in which that you record that class, you engage with the students, and you get a direct result of responses and informative answers in nature. So the point being is that not only do you show competency in how you think in a written exam, but you also have to show competency in how you actually perform in a classroom-based exam. So example, a live session, a webinar, a podcast, those kind of things. But the difference is this will be recorded, you'll be on camera, you'll be demoing a specific topic, and you will be required to demonstrate that those students have been interested in the topic and they're able to answer questions based off that topic as they learn. So, you know, it's a good way of testing instructors and to make sure they're kept current and up to date with the latest teaching methods. So again, 2 exams for that. The CTT Plus is a saucy exam when you look at it. So the CTT Plus is going to cost you $382 for the for either the classroom or the virtual classroom performance-based exam. And then the written exam is going to cost you $358. So you're looking at over $700 plus for 2 exams for 1 certification. So you really need to think, if you're going doing this, you need to invest in yourself, because again, first exam is $358, the second one is $382. So that is well over $700 for 1 certification. So look, it's really rewarding. It's worth doing if you're going into training people, technical trainer, train the trainer, all that kind of stuff. Definitely worth doing if you're thinking about it. So if you're interested in advancing your career in IT, you're going to be looking at the different areas. This is how CompTIA show you how they stack up at salaries globally, locally, average, all that kind of stuff. CompTIA give you the ability to check these salaries. You can also do this through Glassdoor as well. So this is just their website. They do have a salary calculator, and you can review that at any point. Because I get this question quite a lot, I'm going to answer it here. So CompTIA certifications only require that you renew them at the top level. So meaning, if you want to keep all your lower level certifications, you renew at CASP level. So example, CASP requires 75 CEUs. You get 75 continuing education units. You pay $150, while you're still required to submit CEUs for Cloud Plus. All you need to do is submit them prior to filling out your CASP CEU. So make sure you have them submitted, and then go to your intent level CASP and submit your CASP CEUs. You only need to pay your fees on the highest level. So example, CASP is the highest level. So once you pay your $150, you submit your 75 CEUs for CASP, which are your education credits, and you submit your Cloud Plus CEUs if you have that as well. When you complete the CEU submission for CASP Plus and Cloud Plus, and you pay your $150 for CASP, you will then have all your certification renewed. And that's it. 3 years, 75 CEUs every 3 years. CompTIA publishes guides on how to renew your certification, from webinars to sessions to different activities. Example, you are required to have like each CEU is per hour based. So if you sat on this presentation and this is CompTIA certifications and you're basing it off CASP, you could say you could technically say you might have done an hour for Security Plus or an hour for Cloud Plus or an hour for CASP, depending on how long this presentation goes on for. It's the same with any presentation. The only thing is, if you do a presentation, you have to have a certificate of attendance to prove you are at it. It's no good sitting a presentation and then it not counting as part of your renewals. So if CompTIA have said X, Y, and Z are covered, you need to make sure you have that certificate of attendance. Unfortunately for this one, it won't count because it's not there's no certs being generated for it. So just kind of that's where we're at in terms of CompTIA certifications. So it really goes back to what you want to do in terms of CompTIA certifications. You can start at the beginning and work your way up. You can start at the very top and then work your way down. I would recommend anyone taking their CompTIA certifications to give themselves time to do it. It costs quite a lot if you're going through certification and training. To just give an idea, an overall scope, it'll cost you about $4,500 to complete all CompTIA certification just for the exam vouchers if you're purchasing one per exam. So that's €4,500. So it's quite a large investment in your studies. I wish everyone the best of luck in terms of their CompTIA certifications. And obviously, if I could provide any more further detailed assistance or mentoring, I'm happy to do that. And just a thank you to everyone who joined us this afternoon. Again, this is a recording session, so I will post this online. So thank you, everyone. Any last minute questions? No? Okay. Okay. All right. Look, thanks a million, everyone, for joining us on the CompTIA certification special. I am now going to stop the recording, and thanks a million for joining. Don't forget to catch up with us on the Azure and AI show on Friday with Frank Falvey and Dan Ray. And don't forget to catch up with the Journeys to the Cloud team first Thursday of every month, starting in May. All right. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.